Watch me take a graphic from this to this. Hey, and welcome to today's episode of Make It Your Own Design Academy. My name is Cynthia Akita, and I'm your brand strategist, designer, and educator here at the Design Pharmacy. Now, today we're going to look at this particular template, and the reason why I chose this template is because it's a great way to focus on a particular portion of a picture. So if you have any product, if you have any picture where you want people to really focus on one part of it versus the other, this is a great technique for you. And so yes, it's a template, but I'm focusing more so on the technique today. So here you'll see on the page, you have the same photo. The woman is in the background, and then in the background she's in a black and white filter. But then in the foreground or in the front, you'll see that same picture, but the woman is, or the photo is in its more original state in color. While this isn't matched perfectly, let me see if I could kind of fix it. But while it isn't matched perfectly, it still gives a great representation of what this type of technique can do. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, and I'm gonna swap out the photo. So there's this photo here that I think is really cool and fashionable, and you'll see that it already switched the color. The filter took over, and so even if you don't access this particular template, I'll show you how to get that effect and how to get that look. So I actually want the box to focus on the bag, and so I'm just gonna kind of estimate here since I can't see, or I could just change the template altogether, right? Because that's always an option. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, this is just a tiny bit annoying because I can't see the full frame in order to resize it properly, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that like that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drag the picture into the second frame again. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna drag this box over the bag, and then I'm gonna double click here. And what you want to do is you want to match the photo behind with the photo that's in front. And so it does take some trial and error for you to try to get it as in sync as possible. This is not an easy thing to do, so don't be too hard on yourself. I think I may have gotten it. Awesome. So, okay, I was able, and you could see, I'm not going to move it again because I've thankfully gotten it in the right position, but before you could see like the picture behind, but then the picture in front was a bit more transparent, and so that's what I was using to kind of guide the way I was moving the photo to make sure that I could match it. So once you're done with that, you click done, and then you'll see that effect here. So you'll see that her arm kind of flows through, even though this portion is colored. So it just gives the illusion that maybe if you had a magnifying glass, you were able to just focus on one portion of that photo, but the photo was not disturbed. And so that's the type of effect that we're kind of giving here in this photo, and in the last photo as well. So this was the original, and then this is the one that we kind of switched up. And I'm going to duplicate this. Another thing you can do is actually blur out the background too, so that you could further focus on whatever is inside here. So you can go to edit and go to blur and go to whole image. Then you can kind of play with the blur. This is a bit much, right? Because we still want them to see what's behind without making it a point of focus. So that's blurred out a bit, and then you have your text. You can go ahead and kind of work on that there. I would probably add an ombre just so I can see the text a bit more clearly. It's not something that is fighting with the background. So I'm gonna add that there, position it backwards, and then I'll probably add in some text later. Add some fake details about the bag that everybody wants to snag. And then I'm gonna add a price. $4,500. This is luxury, all right? So I'm gonna put that there and then line it up. I could just make it full instead of making it transparent. Make the price clear so people know exactly what they're dealing with. So this is one way that we can kind of work with that kind of an illusion, if I can call it that. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it, from scratch. So let's get a photo in the background. Let me think of an object, maybe hair. All right, so we've got some wavy hair. Let me see. Let's just say we're doing no, not that one. I wanted to create something about texture, so let's start at the top again. I may have missed something. All right, let's just do this. All right, now what you can do is you can either pull in a frame, or you can just tap the photo again and make it into the shape that you would like it to be. All right, now in the background, if this is the part of the photo that you want to kind of zoom in on, then that's totally fine. If there's another portion, then go ahead and do that. But I want to keep this top space for text, so I'm just gonna leave it right here. Now you can go ahead to edit, and then you can go to effects. Just kidding, filters is right at the top. So you can go to filter, and keep in mind that the filter doesn't always have to be like a black and white filter. It doesn't have to be that. It could be, something colorful. It could be, if you go back and go to duotone, you could get something that's more specific to your brand colors. You could do something like that. the options are endless. So let's say, let me see what other colors they had in the filter. Okay, let's say we go with this one here. Now we come back to our photo in front. You want to add a bit of a border just to separate the two. Now the border, it could be white, it could be blue, it could be whatever your brand color is. It could be white. White is always nice and clean too. And what you want to do is double tap on that. And this might be a little hard, but at the very least, you know that the photo in the back, if you didn't mess with it, is going to be the width. Wait, is it the width or it's going to be the height of the canvas. So you see how I dragged it all the way to the top of the page, and then the bottom is at the bottom of the page. I know that's going to be the right size because that's how Canva typically crops their photos. So if you drag a photo into the background, it's only going to stretch as wide as the height of the photo. So I can do that there. And then here's where I start dragging a bit to see if I can get things on top or get things to match. So there you have it there. I think I did it. I think I did. And so there you have it. You could, if you realize you wanted to cut this down, you could still kind of mess with it here and crop it even further without having to change or having to move the actual image. And then I kind of like this font here. What is it? Equestrial. I like that font. Looks like a Montserrat, or however it's pronounced. And then I'm gonna say sleek and strong. What do hair companies say? Gosh, what do hair companies? I don't know, my brain is going blank. I just had the terminology and then I lost it again. I'm gonna spell keep correctly. Healthy, strong with our, what's another word for hair? Or maybe in another language. Let me Google it. Hair in French. Okay. Chevaux is probably not how you pronounce it. Okay, Chevaux Ultra Blast Conditioner. Now I want that on one line, so I'm gonna mess with this a bit, but I wish this font had a bold, but since it doesn't, actually let me change the colors here. I'm gonna duplicate this the text here and show you how to make the font bold if the font doesn't come with a bold version. So I'm gonna remove it from that first box and put it in a box of its own. And then you go to effects and then you go to outline. Now the outline has to be the same color as the text that you chose. So you see there you have like a bolder look, but it's because there's an outline around. Now you don't want to get too crazy because the letters will start to look like look different from the original font because the thicker you make it, it becomes like this. The gaps start to mess up. And so I'm gonna do like a 30 thickness and leave that there. And so I'm gonna put this down, and I'm gonna make this bigger. All right, I'm gonna move this over a little bit. And then what you can do is you can actually put like a logo down there. Just gonna do a makeshift logo. Spell that wrong. Chevaux Hair Wellness. Do any of you guys speak French? I mean, I know I'm not actually like talking to you, but let me know if y'all speak French in the comments, and let me know if you know how to pronounce this. So I'm actually gonna make this thicker as well, and then I'm going to potentially fade it a little bit, because I don't want that to be the focus. I want the focus to be on the result of the conditioner. There, so I'm gonna make sure that's in the center. It's in the center because it's grayed out. I can't click it there. And then we're just going to make it just a tad bit transparent. Actually, I should probably add the website there. Add the .com, and then make the font smaller. Probably a little bit more smaller than that. Okay. All right, so now that we have the website down there, it doesn't really make too much sense for the business name to be kind of hidden. So I'm gonna do two versions. I'm gonna do one where it's just the business name, and then the other where it's just the website, because we do want people to know where to purchase the conditioner. So there you have it. There is the example of how to do it from scratch. This is how we started. Then we focused on the bag, and so you can focus on any part of the picture. Like if we wanted to focus on her shoe, we could have done that as well. Let me even do that. So I'm just gonna remove the text. And the cool thing here is you can actually, just kidding, I thought I could do it without having to redo the whole thing, but I guess I still do. Okay, so again, you can stretch it out to the height unless you changed that at some point. And then you're gonna use this as a guide. Okay, I think I got it. All right, so again, could have focused on the shoe. Here we focused on the bag. Down here we focused on the shoe. If we wanted to, we could focus on the other shoe as well. And when you do some of these focuses, is what we're going to call them, you can also use like arrows. You can use arrows to like highlight what is so special about that feature that you want everyone to pay attention to. And so that's, a great or also a smart thing to do, because what is the point of highlighting something if you're not going to explain why it's of importance? So I'm gonna Turn this arrow a little bit. And then let's get that font in here. And I would take it off of all caps, depending on what you're gonna say. If it's a lot, if it's a paragraph like this, then I would want it to be easier to read. And when things are in all caps, it's not as easy to read, especially like you don't want to read a paragraph that's in all caps, right? Just a couple of words is okay. But if you're gonna write a sentence or a paragraph, you need that to be in regular formatting, because that it's just easier on the eyes and it's easier for us to comprehend. If we can't see things as easily or as clearly as we should, it makes comprehension a lot harder. And so you don't want comprehension to be hard for your audience, because that will prevent them from buying or moving forward with you. Clarity is what gets the sales. So as you can see in this case, you know, we have the text at the bottom, the explanation. What I would do is put an ombre here as well. Let me see if I could get like a gray ombre. This is not gray, but thankfully we can kind of change the colors here. So, or it didn't even really change too much. So I'm just gonna use the edge of that. Just kidding, let me reposition that so I could crop it properly. Okay, so I'm gonna use the edge of that just so we can see the writing a bit more clearly, because again, we don't want to make it hard for our audience to make their decisions. So it's got to be as clear as we can possibly, I thought I moved this back, as we can possibly make it. All right, so there you go. And then we can make the text white again. So yeah, and then you can throw your logo up here in the top left corner, or you could even put some text here on the pant leg. Like, buy now. You could also make it so that the line spacing is more narrow. Yeah, so you can do a lot. You could even put some writing on this black purse here, because I know the picture kind of takes up a lot of space. So I'm just showing you some different ways where you can incorporate text, like put text on the bag. You could put some text here in this white space, and you could put your logo at the top as well. And so, yeah, let's start over. So this is where we started. Then we focused on the purse. After that, we focus on the shoe. And then here it's the focus on the purse, but then we added the pricing and, you know, the ombre in the background, and then the text. And then we completely turn things around with this cool filter for our Cheveux Ultra Blast Conditioner. And then in this version, we just put the website at the bottom instead of the logo. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions on certain templates that you don't know how to transform, feel free to contact me through the comments down below, and I will respond to you and we can get to chatting. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.